What's up? What's up? What's up, everyone? How you guys doing today? It's Monday again already, man. These on Mondays are hitting back to back real quick, and it's Thanksgiving week. So, whoo, my name is Jeremiah Davis. I'm the funding coach, and this is Monday Fun Day. And I am going to be talking about tips. This is primarily for anybody that's an affiliate of Business Funding Now, or want to be an affiliate of Business Funding Now, or if you have the Black Label CRM, the white label business funding and business credit software that I have. Um, the biggest challenges I see are how do you pre-qualify a client for funding? Here, and that's what today's topic is. Monday Fun Day, how to pre-qualify your client for funding. And for me, it's relatively easy. I have several questions that I ask, and each question that I ask will determine or eliminate the type of funding the client is qualified for based on their answers. So I can pretty quickly, within the first 3 or 4 minutes of a conversation, um, figure out what type of loan the client is able to get based on the answers to their questions. Um, and this is what takes up a lot of time. You know, this is vitally important. If you want to, or if you're in funding, or you want to get into funding, or you're trying to transition from another business into business credit or business funding, um, knowing where to invest your time and what type of clients that you are targeting and you want to work with. Okay, so you can eliminate a lot of time based on a few questions to ask a client. And I'm going to go over that here with you today. So, and the idea is if you already know, like the five, say, pillars of funding. I just made that up, but it's the five pillars of funding basically allows you to say what direction to go or advise the client on what they need. That okay, I lost it for a second. I hope I live. Is everybody able to see me and hear me? I've had some interruptions in my internet signal. Let me double check, make sure everything is good. Okay. All right. So, how to pre-qualify your clients for funding? All right. So, when a client comes to me or books an appointment with me, um, I ask these several questions, and I'm gonna kind of stretch it out and dissect each one to educate you on how to pre-qualify your clients for funding and not waste your time with people that don't qualify for funding. Okay. So, the first question I ask is. Um, I usually ask them, what type of loan are you looking for? Right. And this is kind of a setup question because usually they have an idea in their head that they want a business term loan, but they don't know the qualification requirement for a business term loan. Um, so I asked them, so what type of loan is? They say, business term loan or say equipment loan or real estate or whatever. Then I already immediately know in my head, okay, what questions to ask next. All right. And I'll go over these examples with you. Okay, so they say I'm looking for a business term loan. All right. So my next question is, how long have you been in business? Right. And the reason I'm asking that first is because if they say anything less than 2 years, then most likely they do not qualify for a business term loan. One of the qualifications for a business term loan is being in business for 2 years. Okay, so take both sides. If he says yes, he's been in business for 2 years, then that leads me to the next question. Okay, if they say no, then I tell them, well, you don't qualify for a business term loan because you haven't been in business for 2 years. So the next question I'd ask, right, and this goes both ways for the yes or the no, is how much is your annual revenue of your business, right? If they say more than $100,000 a year, then I know which direction to go. If they say less than $100,000 a year, so $100,000 a year is roughly, six, seven, what is it, 7,000 a month. It's less than 10,000 a month, about 8,000. Let's say, let's round it up to $8,000 a month. So now I know that they don't qualify for a business term loan. I know they don't qualify for a working capital loan or revenue-based loan. Only thing they're most likely going to qualify for is an MCA loan or a personal loan if they got good personal credit. So the next question is, what is your credit score, right? If they say anything under 650, ideally you want 680 or higher, right? Of course, you want higher the better, right? And listen, there are corporate funding options out there, but the criteria to qualify for those types is much higher. All right. And all startup financing or funding is backed by personal loans. So everything is connected to you personally. The only loan types that are not heavily reliant on personal credit are the MCA loans or working capital or revenue-based loans. Okay, sometimes you got real estate, anything or any asset-based funding will not be contingent on credit alone. All other funding is contingent on credit as well as income. Okay, you got to be able to afford the money, and the banks want to know if you are can be trusted. Have you managed your money? Have you managed your personal credit? Have you managed your business finances? So there's all those things that go involved. So the first question is, right? If they ask for a business term loan, they have been in business more than 2 years, business term loans off the table. They making less than $100,000 a year. That eliminates a number of other funding options. Now I'm down to like one or two options, right? And then if they say less than 650 on the credit, then I'm down to one option, right? If they say less than 650 and they've been in business less than 2 years and they make less than $100,000 a year, I only got one option, and that is MCA loan. Okay, so take the same scenario and reverse it. Yes, I've been in business over 2 years. I make over $100,000 a year. All right, now we're working with something. Okay, what's your credit? It's 680. Okay, now we're working with something. Okay, now I'm going to ask them, do they have what is there any derogatories on your credit? Any lates in the last 2 years? Any collections? Any charge-offs? Anything? Any public records? Right? If they say yes to any of that, then that eliminates them for the business term loan, but it does mean they can go working capital or revenue-based loan. Okay, so that's kind of how, when you know the qualifications and requirements for a specific loan product, then you know how to direct your client, right? And 9 times out of 10, the client hears about a loan and wants to apply for the loan, not knowing the qualifications of that loan. So you have to educate them and direct them, like, you don't qualify for this type of loan, and give them the qualifications for that loan type that they're asking for. And then move on to one of the loans that they do qualify for based on the answers they're giving you, right? Okay, so now if I have that client that's been in business over 2 years and they're making over $100,000 a year and their credit is above 680 with no derogatories, now I'm going for the business term loan. Same scenario, right? Say they come to you for a real estate investment type loan. Okay, so here's the questions I ask for that. If you want, I'm looking to buy a property, I'm looking to buy a house to fix and flip or fix and hold. Then you're going to be looking at, okay, do they have the property under contract? They do not have the property under contract. They need to get the property under contract before they apply for the loan, right? And putting the property under contract is like kind of similar to buying and doing a standard mortgage. You need to have an agreement, a contract with the seller and you as the purchaser. And what that does is protect you from the seller selling the house or the property from under you while you secure additional financing to purchase the property, right? Whether it's commercial or whether it's residential, the principles still apply, right? And so if they do not have it, number one, you need to go ahead and put the property under contract. You might have to put $2,000 or $3,000 down or more depending on your geographical location as well as the seller. You can sometimes it's 2,000, sometimes it's 7,000. Okay, so that just depends, and you have to have the resources to be able to do that. Okay, and then the next question I ask them: do they have a contractor that can give them an itemized rehab budget? Right? They need to know. The lenders want to know that how much the property costs, what's the rehab budget, and the next question is: do they have 20%, or now since the pandemic, you're looking at 20 to 30% for a down payment or LTV, right? They're going to do 70 to 80% LTV, loan to value. So you need to bring the other 20 to 30% to the table. So now you're looking at if it's a $100,000 piece of property and they're going to do a 80% loan to value or of the purchase price, you need to come up with another $20,000 to get to be as a down payment. So you got to have it under contract. You got to have an itemized third-party rehab budget, and you got to have at least 20%, right, of loan to value. Then you have to have the comps of that community, right, within the same block, within that general vicinity. What are other properties that are similar make and model that are selling for, so they can compare what you're paying for it, what you're putting into it, and what the resale value will be, right? And the benchmark is you need at least to have $100,000. 70 is a bottom, but $100,000 idea or more added value after the rehab. So if that property is worth as is $100,000, right, and you purchase it for that $100,000, and you put $25,000 into it, it needs to be worth at least $200,000 to $225,000 more than the purchase price. Okay, so that's how I pre-qualify my real estate clients. They're looking for funding, right? And if it doesn't fall into that box, they do not qualify, right? And a lot of times I will take that a client and have to either work with their credit, get them a personal loan so they can have that capital of that 10 to 30% that they have to bring to the table, right? So if you have to bring $20,000-$30,000 to the table to close the deal, but you don't have $20,000-$30,000, or you don't have the money to put it under contract. So those are those nuances that, as a funding coach, you need to be able to understand and to pre-qualify your client. If they don't have the resource, a lot of people come in and say, I found property and I can get it, but I need the funding for it. And then after I educate them, okay, so how much is the property worth? How much money you got? Do you have it under contract? Do you have a third-party contractor to get a rehab budget? All those little things, right? And then I don't say no. I say, here's the path to get to the yes, right? You need to have at least 20%. And this is post-pandemic, okay? Pre-pandemic, there was most of these hard money lenders doing real estate investment would do 90% of the purchase price or loan to value, and you only had to come with 10%. Since the pandemic, a lot of the hard money lenders went out of business because they had no business going on during the lockdown. Okay, so a lot of banks that I used to work with before the pandemic are no longer in business now. So now the ones that are still in business are the ones who have changed their underwriting guidelines to the fact that no, well, we're going to do, we're not going to do a 90% anymore. We're going to do 80%. And then there's conditions on the 80%, right? So, and every situation changes that condition. So, for example, I'm working on a deal right now. As a residential property is selling for like $465. Okay. And I've been working with this individual for the last several months because I had to educate them on what they needed to get the property. And the seller is motivated, but he was working with the buyer, right? So now the buyers wants to buy the property as a single family home to use as Airbnb, right? In a major city. So when we disclosed that the purpose of the property was going to be for Airbnb, it changed from 80% went down to 75%, and now 70%. So now they got to come with 30% of the down payment of the $465,000. Now, other flip side of that is they don't have as a new construction, so they don't need to have a rehab budget. It's in a residential area in a metropolitan cities. They can make a lot of money doing Airbnb with this newly constructed house, but less than the last 10 years it's been constructed. Okay, and the market value for that comps in that house is over $600,000. So we crossed off a lot of boxes, checked a lot of boxes with this property, and the person was able to get the financing from another party to cover that 30%. Okay, so now we're just working on the details. Getting the contract signed. There's no rehab budget. Everybody has all their ducks in a row, and now we can go into funding. Okay, and that's basically how you got to do it. You have to know what the qualifications and requirement are for the particular type of loan, so you can guide your clients on the right path, as well as educate them to get them ready. Right? We don't want them to go away empty-handed, but you have to know what you're talking about. Okay, so for real estate, just keep in mind your credit is not an issue, but if it's a fix and flip or fix and hold or any type of investment property, if there is a construction that needs to be done, you need a third party itemized rehab budget. You need comps, all right, comparables for that same similar type of property in a similar neighborhood. If it's a commercial building, then it's going to be comps for other commercial building or retail locations, right? If it's residential and it's going to be an investment property, say rental or Airbnb, or fix and hold basically, or just purchase and hold. Okay, so what do you need? What does the client need to bring to the table to get that type of funding, right? And 9 times out of 10, like literally almost 100%, lenders or borrowers, people those are looking for the money, do not know the qualification and requirements for a particular type of loan. Okay, let's do equipment. Okay, somebody comes to you and they're asking for a tractor trailer. Or used tractor trailer, good used tractor trailer is going for $100,000 easy. Okay, so what do you have to have? What do you have to have? What is the qualifications for your client to get that tractor trailer? Credit is not one of them. They can have a 600 credit score and still get equipment. Okay, all right. Now, but they will need to have a down payment of at least 2 to 3 months of payments for that piece of equipment. So if you add the interest and divide it up $100,000 over 60 months, then you're looking at about $5,000 a month. So you need $10,000 to $15,000 as down payment. Okay, you need to have a dealer that you're working with that you can get a bill of sale, and the bill of sale and the listing price thing, right? And then bank statements to show that you have that $10,000 to $15,000. You need to have the DOT tags. You need to have commercial insurance for a tractor trailer. Okay, and then when you have that package, then we can go to the equipment lenders with the package complete. Said yes, this person qualifies. Okay, 600 credit score. Like I said, I usually say 10 to 15% of the purchase price of the down payment. All applicable documents needed for that piece of equipment, whether it be DOT tags, CDL license, commercial insurance, all those things lined up. Now, here's the problem. I got a lot of people coming to me that are owner operators or just independent contractors. They drive 18 wheelers and they're usually renting a truck from the company that they're working for. So they're self-employed, but they're paying a rental fee for that truck from that company to haul. Now, it benefits them because they do make more money than being an employee of that trucking company, right? But they're having the money deposited into a personal account, right? So they're not structured as a business, right? And these equipment lenders, they want to see that you have at least 3 months of business bank statements with the money, with the cash flow. You have to show that your business can afford a $100,000 piece of equipment. And this will apply to all types of equipment. I've said it before. I've done, equipment for a whole gym. Somebody wanted to open a gym actually during the pandemic. and they needed $100,000 worth of treadmills, weight benches, weights, free weights, ellipticals, all the stuff that they need to equip the gym with. All right. And they needed to have, like I said, that down payment amount, right? They need to have and then they have to have itemized lists of all the equipment and pricing from a supplier that they want to buy, because the equipment lenders are going to pay the dealership or the supplier for the equipment for that you're buying. They're not going to give the money to you. They're going to give the money to the actual seller of the equipment that you're trying, whether it be a dump truck, tractor trailer, gym, kitchen, a restaurant, for their limo transportation service. Okay, same scenario, right? Another thing the equipment lenders don't like is to do deals under $50,000. So coming to them with a 10, 15, $25,000 deal is unappealing to them because they're not making any money. Okay. Now the interest is gonna occur a little different with the equipment, but you can get into that later with the weeds. We can go over that. Point being is, how do you qualify these people that need this type of funding? Okay. If they're equipment lenders, they need to have at least 3 months of business bank statements with cash flow showing they can afford that type of equipment. Okay. They need to have an itemized list with the pricing from a single supplier, whether it be a dealership or if it's a gym, who are they getting all their products from, right? And then we need to present that, and showing that they have the resources or the necessary related licenses, tags, insurances, things like that. Because when the lender is going to fund the money, they don't want you to, they want you to have your ducks in a row so they don't lose their investment, right? And you default, right? If you're trying to open up a gym and you don't have the proper insurance for liability if somebody injures themselves in your gym and you get sued, they're gonna get their money back, right? That type of things like that. You got to think of it like that. If you're driving a tractor trailer and they are not, you don't have a CDL or commercial insurance, you're not going to get the loan until you have those things. Okay, just common sense, right? They're not in business to lose money. They're in business to invest or loan you the money with an interest rate that they can get their money back, and their equipment is the collateral. So that's why your credit is not necessarily a determining factor in getting equipment, but your cash flow of your business. They want to make sure they're going to take the asset and pay and get their money back if you default on the payments. The other thing um, is they are not, if you're not able to provide these things so they can get their money back, you're not going to get the loan. But it also is it's a sign, just like anything else. When you're applying for a credit card or loan, a personal loan or something like that from a bank, and you get denied, is because they don't see that you're trustworthy enough to handle this responsibility. Okay, so you got to think of things like that when you're applying for different types of funding. Same thing with the real estate issue. You got to have some resources, right? Now, and I know you can go. I've been to a number of those real estate guru type conferences, where they teach you how to, leverage your credit cards and do all these cash advances to buy the property. But if you have the right credit, the right income, you can get the money loan, personal loans from anywhere $50,000 to $100,000 that you can use to invest into that real estate property or the equipment that you want to buy or anything like that. Okay, so those are the different things you need to be able to qualify someone. And then just knowing the basic qualification is, if you got a client and they don't have those resources, you have a plan to get them the resources. Okay, and if that's the case, here it is, right? I'm gonna give you the game, right? The minimum requirements for a personal loan is $50,000 annual income, 680 or higher credit score, okay, and paperwork, right? Bank statements. If you're a W-2 employee, you need your pay stubs, the last 2-year tax returns. This is like a full doc. There is no such thing as a no doc funding. There are minimal docs funding, but just know, the less documents, the less money, right? The more documents you can provide, the more money you'll get approved for. If they're just doing, you got a 700 plus credit with no derogatories, and they're not verifying income, they're not going to loan you as much money as they would if they could verify income. It's just common sense. Okay, banks have not changed in 100 years. There's still no shortcuts. Okay, you can go out there and build your business credit up to 80 paydex score, and have all the trade lines that you need. But if you don't have any business income, or you don't have good personal credit, you're not going to get the funding. Okay, corporate funding only requires you to have really solid business credit with 10 plus trade lines that are paid off 10 days before they're due, that you've had them for at least 3 consecutive months or longer, that you're not overutilizing them, that you have to have certain cards, certain types of cards with a $5,000 limit or higher, things like that. So I know the protocol for corporate owning financing. As the problem is, there's people out there teaching half truths or just basic lies on TikTok and Clubhouse, saying that you can get, $250,000 in business funding just on business credit. Okay. Well, if the business doesn't make the money that show they can handle a $250,000 loan, then you're not going to get it. I mean, you got to be able to pay the money back. These banks already lose a lot of money from people defaulting. So they're going to do everything they have to mitigate their losses and verify that you're a solid investment by loaning you the money for the equipment or for the real estate or for whatever. So they all have their standard protocols. Okay. It's not new to them. It's new to the general public who's never pursued this particular funding amount. Okay. So that's what you need. That's what you need. And it's not a problem. If you got somebody that needs to help fix their credit, but they make the income to get, we know the criteria that the banks are looking for the personal loans, right? The 680 credit score or higher, the $50,000 annual income, or we can use household income. So if you've got a husband and wife, they both make $40,000 a year. We can use both incomes and the person with the best credit to secure the funding, right, to get them started, whether it's buying that piece of equipment, or it's buying that real estate, or even getting a personal loan or a business term loan. Okay, you need to have good business credit, good personal credit, and good business income to get a lot of these different funding options. Okay, now that covers like the basic pillars of the funding, right? Being in business more than 2 years. If you're not in business more than 2 years, then you're limited on a certain or lesser funding options, right? You got revenue based, or cash based, revenue based, working capital, things like that. If you don't have a property under contract, and you don't have 10 or 20 to 30% of the purchase price is down payment, itemized rehab budget, those are the things you need to do go into real estate. Okay, if it's equipment, you need to have the 10 to 15% of the purchase price as a down payment of the monthly payments. List 2 to 3 monthly payments on that. And if you need to calculate what the monthly payments are, that's another episode. That's a little bit more tricky. Put it like this: equipment funding is its own bubble environment where the interest rate is calculated differently than it is for real estate or any other type of funding product. They have their own unique way of calculating the interest and approving that. But the point being is, they want you to have skin in the game. So that's where you need to have your 10 to 15% of the purchase price. You need to have your itemized list of the equipment and from the dealer that you're going to, or the supplier you're going to buy it from. You need to have all relevant documentation, insurance, tags, things of that nature that shows, and a business bank account with cash flow coming into it to show that you can do that, right? Now, if you're opening in a gym, then they're going to use your personal income, right, as a starting point, right? The gym, the equipment is the collateral, so your credit is not that big of a factor. So it's things like that. Pre-qualifying your clients for funding. Ask them how long they've been in business, how much is the business making, what's their personal credit score, right? With those 3 questions, you can pretty much eliminate all the other funding options and get down to where they need to be, right? If they don't have a 680 credit score, then we're looking at revenue based, working capital, MCA loans. If they haven't been in business 2 years, same scenario. If they don't have their money going into a business account and for this equipment, that really applies more to the truck drive, over the road truckers and things like that. You can buy a dump truck, but these are business loans. So you need to have a business with a business bank account with money going into it. Okay, so if you know someone that is an owner operator or independent sole prop, something like that, and you need to form a corporation, set up a business bank account, and start having all those people that they're working for pay their company on a regular basis so they can show that the business is making cash, have a cash flow. All right. If you're a startup and you don't have it, then all startup funding is going to be personal loans that you can use for whatever you want. So that criteria is back to the credit score being higher than it needs to be to get the real estate or get the equipment. Okay. Because those are asset-based loans. Credit is not a criteria, or it's not the most determining factor. They don't, if you got a 400, don't even apply. If you got a 550, we might be able to squeak in, but a minimum of 600 is ideal for asset-based funding. Okay. Anybody got any questions? Ask me, ask the funding coach, what you got? Hit me up. Okay, well, let me say this. If you're an affiliate and you do not have your affiliate landing page for the pre-qualified business funding scan, that scan is going to pre-qualify your clients for one of 20 different loans based on the information and the content I just put out there, right? So it's gathering 150 points of data on the owner and the business and drawing that information back. So on the honor system, that they give us what their credit score is. But like I said, if they can have below a 600 credit score and still qualify for some loan product if they have cash flow in their business, okay? When it comes to a client that is going from home base to an office, how does that work? That is more contingent on business credit building and not so much funding, okay? So they are, if you already signed up as an affiliate, just send an email to Support at Business Funding Now, asking for your landing page for the scan, and my staff will send that to you directly, so you'll have that. And you can, put the data in yourself, or you can send that link to your client, and they can do the scan, and you get the results, and we get the results, and then we go from there. Okay, so. Okay, all right. Well, you probably need to go ahead and schedule an appointment with me, and we can go over these and pre-qualify them. Okay, here, let me go ahead and give you my appointment link right now. So the home-based business versus a retail business, that is crucial when applying for business credit and for some type of business loans. Okay, but for most people, they do not require you to have an actual retail location or a office to get funding. Okay, I mean the being a home-based business is not going to determine if you're going to get funding or not. Okay, so that's one of those things that are kind of not, most people don't know what you got to be able to distinguish business credit and business funding. They are not synonymous. They're not the same thing, and they have different purposes. Okay. Why is this thing not working? Hold on. I'm just trying to get to my appointment link here. All right. Let me see what else you got here. Can't wait. I have 5 clients. Thank you so much. Great. It's a daycare. Okay. Daycare shouldn't be an issue just for straight funding. They should have regular cash flow coming in, and she is moving into a commercial space and wants funding to expand. Okay, so basically, if we're looking at business term loans, is like tier one, 680 credit score or higher, making over $100,000 a year. Okay, 2 years of business financials, tax returns, P&Ls, things like that. If they don't have all that, then we're down to working capital, revenue base, or MCA loans. Okay, but she also should start working on building a business credit as well, because you can definitely have more options with business credit and saying putting down having a cash card with a $10,000 limit that you can put down for a deposit for a retail location, as well as buying supplies and equipment from different vendors. And we have over 3,000 business credit vendors in the software that they can choose from industries that they need. I don't know how many of them are in the daycare arena, but I'm sure there's a bunch of vendors in there that can get supplies, apply for a trade line with one of those vendors and get the supplies they need and not use their operating capital, but using their credit and paying it back, their business credit and paying it back over time, and rather than using their operating capital. So that's the biggest misnomer is business credit is designed for you to grow your business, use your credit to expand, to secure services and products that you need without using your operating capital or your personal credit to do so. Okay, so you can keep the cash coming into the business to pay for overhead and employees or what have you, but using credit to expand. Right. I use this example all the time that Walmart does not buy anything with their cash. They buy everything on credit, and then we buy it from Walmart before the invoices due. And then they use our money to pay their invoices. So they're always cash heavy because they're not using their cash to purchase any of the products that we see on the shelves. Now, the same would go for a small business owner, whether you're a box truck, food truck, tractor trailer. It doesn't matter what type of your restaurant, what business you're on. You have a business credit to get the things you need. If you only got one tow truck, how are you going to get three tow trucks without using your operating capital? Using business credit, right? Going into a dealership that sells tow trucks and having your strong business credit could get you two more tow trucks on credit versus using your cash or your personal credit. So you got to think of it like that. And it's not one and done. You don't have business credit one day and then you just stop and let it sit there. You continue to utilize it over time. Why? So you can increase your limits, increase your fundability, increase your credibility. The stronger business credit you have, the more options you have to get resources from other lines of credit, other vendor accounts, as well as cash as well. So you got to know what the purpose of the business credit is, as well as the purpose of funding. Funding is get you cash now that you can use to invest to make more cash. All right, using other people's money. Right, I'm going to go to the bank. I'm gonna get $100,000, and then I'm gonna strategically use that $100,000 to turn it into $500,000 in my business. Okay, so knowing how all those pieces work together, knowing how business credit, personal credit, and business cash flow work, all the pieces to the puzzle and work hand in hand to maximize your fundability and your credibility. Okay, somebody's calling line waiting for my staff members to pick it up. There we go. All right. Let's see. Any other questions? Any other questions? Listen, I posted the appointment scheduler. I got an announcement to make right now. I'm going to make this announcement. I am offering the business credit, the do-it-yourself version of my software, right? So if you want to build your business credit, or you want other clients to build their business credit, I'm offering a Black Friday sale. It starts today, and it's half price. So instead of $700, it's $350 one time, and you get access to everything in the software, all the vendors, over 3,000 vendors. It's totally automated, step-by-step process that with all the resources. If you want to purchase it for yourself or purchase it for or send your clients that way. Let me I think it's BFN50 is the discount code. Let's see. BFN50 is the discount code. I'm texting my staff. Okay. Tonight at 7 o'clock is Mountain Movers. My Bible study for entrepreneurs is going to be Mondays at 7 o'clock. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Just starting out, and the first one was about, are you called to be an entrepreneur? The second one was entrepreneurs walk by faith. And tonight I'm going to be talking about taking the next step, taking the next step in your business or in your faith as an entrepreneur. Yeah, this is what I feel led to do. So I'm going to do it, and it's helping me at least. So, but yeah, right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Raquel, thank you. This week after the new year. It's already started. I started 2 weeks ago, and I'm doing it every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and I'm going to keep doing it. I've only had 2 or 3 people come and join me and just listen in, but I know more people will get involved when they hear about it. But it's called Mountain Movers because as an entrepreneur, we got to move mountains, and the Bible says you have to if you have faith with the grain of a mustard seed, you can say to the mountain, be removed. And trust me, I've moved some mountains being an entrepreneur as long as I have without a safety net and walking by faith. So this is all stuff that I'm very familiar with going through it. How did I miss the link? I don't know, you probably need to follow me on my personal Facebook page, and then you would probably get the notifications when I go live. And then I also post the flyer. So there's a flyer on my personal page as well. I'm only putting it on my personal Facebook page and my personal YouTube page. It's Jeremiah Davis. So you can be able to find either one of those and just follow and get the notifications for those. Okay. All right. There's no other questions about how to pre-qualify your clients for funding. Then let me see here. Yes. So if you want to take advantage of the Business Funding Now Black Label 50% off, the discount code is BFN50. BFN50, and you can get a DIY business credit builder software and with no time limit for one-time price for $350, and it includes over 3,000 business credit vendors that you can get accounts with for your business. You don't get accounts that you don't need for your business. Get the accounts that you need for your business. But everything is laid out in a very automated, user-friendly, step-by-step format. And if you need support, you can always email support@businessfundingnow.com. And also, what else am I going to do? I'm going to do a Black Friday sale for the software, Black Label CRM. It's got a 10% off the annual price, and I might be lowering the monthly price too, but I'll know that tomorrow, and then I'll make that announcement as well. And then I'm doing personal credit repair too. That's for the general public, so I'm not going to go into that. But that's the idea. Okay, so I've got Black Friday pricing coming out today. Check out my personal page or any of the business pages. You should see flyers with the discount codes and where to go sign up. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Like, share, and follow. My name is Jeremiah Davis. I am the Funding Coach. Peace.